What is going on, everybody? Welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We're tracking a major winter storm that continues to bring heavy snow and some ice accumulations across the east. We're going to also be seeing a colder weather pattern as we go into the weekend and into next week, and another big storm threat across the central and eastern U.S., which could bring another major winter storm into late January. So we're going to be tracking all that and much more in this video. So if you are new, make sure to subscribe and come back often for updates, as we're going to be providing you updates here on this video and later on here into the evening tonight as well. And also make sure to like the video down below and share this video on social media. I definitely appreciate it. So let's look at the weather alerts across the country. We have winter weather advisories in light purple here from North Texas, stretching all the way north to Michigan and all the way east here to Delaware. So this is a large system. And in the pinks, those are winter storm warnings where we expect significant snow and or ice accumulations. Those extend from eastern Oklahoma, northeast Texas, all the way east, again, here into southern Maryland and even Virginia and North Carolina. So a large swath here that will be impacting a lot of states, over 20 states here with some winter weather. Let's look at the past 24 hours with our snowfall reports and notice across eastern Oklahoma, western, and even central portions of the Arkansas area, we are seeing 8 to 12 inches, even some 12-inch reports coming in across southeast Oklahoma and southwest Arkansas here, and this is some pretty hefty snow for the deep south. Moving it further east, we had some snow reports around the Memphis area coming in around 6 inches at least, northwest Mississippi coming in around 6 inches, and even a swath here in northern Alabama coming in at 6 inches. So pretty hefty snowfall totals to say the least, and there is more of where this came from. So going into the afternoon, let's first look at the central U.S., then we'll turn over, look at the eastern U.S. We're clearing out across portions of Oklahoma and Texas after what was some impactful winter weather yesterday. All that has slid further off to the east. Arkansas, Missouri, you are pretty much done with the snowfall as well this afternoon, and it will continue to clear out as we go into the evening hours as well. Here's the additional snowfall that we expect to come here through Saturday, January 11th, which would be tomorrow, and you can see maybe an additional inch or so of snow in northeastern Arkansas, southeastern Missouri, but a lot of that is pressing eastward toward either the Ohio Valley or the East Coast as we go into the weekend. So any travel concerns across Oklahoma and Texas will be quite limited today. We're not really seeing any travel concerns that big of a deal across the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Oklahoma City or Tulsa. You are A-okay. A little bit of some travel concerns still for Little Rock over there toward Memphis, as that snowfall is still flying in some of these areas. It may take the crews some time to clear out those roadways, but definitely seeing those improve vastly into the afternoon here and especially the evening. Let's look at the eastern U.S. this afternoon. Some heavier snow breaking out across parts of eastern Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, even into western Ohio. The heaviest of the snow will be further south into Kentucky and northern Tennessee there, from Nashville all the way to Knoxville, seeing some decent snows. That freezing line, again, is going to be lifting north. So Chattanooga over here in towards Greenville in South Carolina could be seeing that freezing line, so a mixture of snow, freezing rain, sleet, and even some rain mixing in this afternoon. So kind of a sloppy mess there with some slush on the roadways. This evening, we got some of that snow pressing eastward into West Virginia, western Pennsylvania, Virginia, getting into northern North Carolina, especially. Again, that freezing line for Charlotte is going to be very key. If we have warmer air moving in, we might see more freezing rain and sleet, maybe even all rain trying to mix in there. Most of South Carolina, especially the low country down here in toward Columbia, Myrtle Beach, and Charleston, will stay mostly rain with this system into the evening, and that will extend down into central and southern Georgia and to northern Florida with the rain, and that'll really kind of continue as we go into the overnight hours with some rainfall. The outer banks here of the Carolinas, southern Georgia and Florida. The snowfall into Maryland, Delaware, Jersey, all the way into eastern portions of Pennsylvania, into the Poconos region as well, and into New York State as we go into the overnight hours. And then as we go into Saturday morning, starting off the weekend, we have some lighter snow up there into Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, coastal Maine as well, Cape Cod seeing some snow. Other than that, the rainfall, maybe some lighter showers for places like Jacksonville, Tallahassee, and Orlando. but nothing too heavy there Saturday morning. And finally, the system really starts to clear off the East Coast by Saturday afternoon after maybe some lingering snow showers there into Maine and New Hampshire and even eastern Massachusetts. So looking at additional snowfall accumulations through Sunday, January 12th, an additional on average 1 to 3 inches across most of these areas into the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley on east, lighter amounts into the Northeast and New England here as the system really weakens and pushes off the coast. Maybe some isolated 4-5-inch totals in the higher elevation of the Appalachian chain down into West Virginia, and the Smoky Mountains down here in East Tennessee, Western North Carolina could have a little bit of enhanced snowfall totals due to the topography in those areas. Travel is concerned across portions of Tennessee. So Nashville back to Memphis, Knoxville, going to be a messy travel as we go through the day. That will extend north into the Ohio Valley. So Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, some travel will be impacted across this area, at least minor travel impacts going through today. The travel will improve greatly as we go into Saturday. So we're really not worrying about that as we go into Saturday. Maybe some slushy roads lingering into the morning, but other than that, we are seeing a lot of less travel impacts into Saturday than today. Moving over to the east, today we're seeing travel impacted across Virginia, North Carolina, especially northern North Carolina, north of Charlotte, the most moderate travel impacts there. And then over here into northwestern South Carolina, the more you get into the low country down here in toward Columbia, Myrtle Beach, and Charleston, we're seeing more and more of the travel being better across those areas. And then not really much impacts to the travel across the Northeast or New England, especially the I-95 corridor, nothing much there for today or even on Saturday. It's just really because we're not seeing a lot of snow in these areas, lighter snow, and we have plows, a lot more of them up here in the Northeast than we do down into Tennessee, for example. So the crews, whatever we get in the Northeast, we'll be able to get that snow off the road pretty quickly. And looking at temperatures into the weekend, Saturday, January 11th through Sunday, January 12th, colder air is definitely going to be on the backside of this system this weekend. And going into next week, another blast of cold air from the north coming in across the upper Midwest down here into the eastern U.S. on Monday. The coldest of the air will be across the fresh snowpack we laid down with our previous couple of systems here, the one that's happening now, and then the one that happened a week or so ago. So if you're in the Ohio Valley in the purples here, those are temperatures 30, 31, 32 degrees below normal there on Wednesday. It's going to definitely be a bitterly cold day, so prepare for that. And then on Friday, we start to see return flow into the middle of the country, and that will definitely lead to some warmer than normal temperatures for once as we go into later next week on the 17th. Let's look at the weekend for another system coming in. This is a Clipper system, or at least a series of Clipper systems across the northern U.S., and basically these just bring some lighter snow, maybe some moderate pockets of snow at times. Here we go on Saturday. Tomorrow we got some of that snow spreading from Minnesota back into the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, all the way back into western Colorado and Utah. So some pretty light snow there. That'll continue into Saturday night. Not really any one particular area that we're expecting some really big totals, just kind of some lighter snowfall this weekend. And then going into Sunday, a lot of that really kind of spreading over toward Lake Superior, Lake Michigan. So Wisconsin, Michigan, Northern Illinois, and even up here into Ontario and Canada could see some lighter snowfall going into the weekend there on Sunday. Overall, again, we do emphasize light snow. This is probably one of the snows that we're going to see, coat the ground, if you will, and cover the grass at most. We're seeing 1 to 3 inches here across Ontario, the Great Lakes, back here to the northern U.S. for the weekend. Overall, as we go into next week, with the colder air in place across the east, cold air is dry air, so we're going to see drier weather pattern largely across the eastern and central U.S. as we go between the 13th and the 17th of January. Maybe some moisture coming up from Mexico there in the western plains later in the week on Friday, but that will be remains to be seen at this point. Let's look at the long range, because the operational and the ensembles as well have been pinpointing a bigger storm system that we've been watching here for a couple of days now for late January, kind of focusing around the 19th, 20th time frame. The European model showing a pretty significant trough developing here across the west and the central U.S. and a kind of a battleground here from the Ohio Valley all the way down to the southern plains. That's where a low-pressure storm track would be from Texas really to Indiana or Ohio, and the northwest side of there could produce some heavy snows. And you can see the GFS model really kind of going more toward the European solution, because if you remember yesterday, the GFS was way displaced with the trough further off to the east. It's actually backed west where the European model has it. And the Climate Prediction Center is showing a risk of heavy snow, slight risk between the 17th and 21st of January. Really a large chunk of the country here. The Great Lakes, much of the Ohio Valley, interior New England, all the way back here into Tennessee Valley again, central southern plains, the Midwest, and all the way back even into the Four Corners region, back into Arizona. So the Flagstaff area, for example, getting into Utah, Denver, into Colorado, Albuquerque, the mountains there in New Mexico. So we have a large area of risk for some heavy snow with that system. And then on the warm side, we have some heavier rain, a slight risk of that across the Gulf Coast states up there toward the Carolinas. And we'll just see how warm this system can get. Severe weather may be a problem as well. So looking at snowfall accumulation for late January, there is a signal on the ensembles that do show a snowstorm for areas that possibly haven't seen much snow this winter so far, into like Chicago, Milwaukee, La Crosse, Des Moines, back here towards St. Louis again, Kansas City, and then tailing its way back there towards Kansas, Oklahoma, Panhandle, and Texas. And then the rainfall you can see along the Gulf Coast here toward the Carolinas and Tennessee could have some heavier rains. Flash flooding may be a concern here if this came to fruition, and maybe some severe weather during that time frame. After that, the last week of January looks downright cold again, especially out east where the heavier snowpack will lay itself down. And you can see between January 24th and the 31st, right up to the end of the month, colder than normal temperatures will favor southern Canada and the lower 48 in the United States, and maybe even northern Mexico as well. So winter will continue to hang on with the cold and the snowfall and the ice and all that as we even go into the last week of January. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, check back often for updates. We'll have an evening video updating you on the most recent trends with our latest winter storm, and we'll be looking ahead to what to expect for the rest of January. So make sure you have post notifications turned on for that video. It usually comes out around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night here in the evening. So make sure to look out for that. Like the video again by giving it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Friday out there.